How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether price is going up or down. Coder brings the Ordinals to Litecoin as Bitcoin inscriptions surpass 154,000. Ordinal inscriptions and the ability to mint content other than transactions on the Bitcoin network have taken the blockchain by storm, with over 154,000 inscriptions created to date. Now a developer has adapted the Ordinals project for rival proof-of-work blockchain Litecoin. Launched in 2011, Litecoin is a peer-to-peer cryptocurrency designed to be quicker at processing transactions than Bitcoin. Litecoin was created by Charlie Lee, a former Google employee who sold all his Litecoin in 2017 to avoid potential conflicts of interest. The quest to bring Ordinals to the Litecoin blockchain began on February 10th when a pseudonymous Twitter user, Indigo Nakamoto, offered a 5 LTC to anyone who could port Ordinals, which later became a 22 LTC bounty. On Sunday, software engineer Anthony Guerra launched the Litecoin Ordinals project on GitHub after forking the GitHub repository for Bitcoin Ordinals posted by Casey Rodemer in January. Litecoin was chosen because it is the only other blockchain on which Ordinals could work. Guerra said due to its soft forks and the SegWit and Taproot technology found in Bitcoin, both of which are essential to making Ordinals work. So no other chain has access to those two technologies except for Litecoin. Guerra says that this is where the bounty was increased. Guerra found issues with the dependency on Rust Bitcoin, which did not support the Mimblewimble upgrade on Litecoin. I forked Rust Bitcoin to make one that is able to work with Litecoin MWeb, Guerra said. This allows Ordinals to decode the block data and safely ignore the extension block MWeb. Launched in May 2022, Mimblewimble, named after a spell in Harry Potter, is an upgrade to the Litecoin blockchain that aims to enhance the network's privacy and transaction size. With Mimblewimble as its secret sauce, Guerra says that the Litecoin blockchain is the perfect place for Ordinals because it can handle more data than an individual transaction at a lower cost than Bitcoin. Don't know why we're all the way at the bottom here. Meant to have this one first, so there's a new malware. You may be like, oh, I don't care. This doesn't involve crypto, but it does. And all my highlights disappeared, or at least half of them. A new information stealer called StealC has emerged on the dark web, gaining traction to aggressive promotion of stealing capabilities and similarities with malware of the same kind like Vidar, Raccoon, Mars, and Redline. Those were used to build this one, actually. According to the advisor, apart from typical targeting of web browser data, extensions, and cryptocurrency wallets, StealC has a customizable file grabber that can be set to target whatever file types the operator wishes to steal. This is more concerning than your typical malware, and we'll get into why. The malware is actively developed and a new version appears on the channel every week. That is a Telegram channel that they're trying to push their malware out on. Plymouth also said that StealC was not developed from scratch but relied on Vidar, Raccoon, Mars, and Redline. One commonality the research found between these is that they all download a legitimate DLL, such as SQLite3.dll. I know that doesn't make sense to a lot of people. DLLs are like repository files that programs will use to execute what they need to do to make your computer run. And they're basically, I don't have it highlighted here, but this article tells you yeah, what's happening is you're clicking these links, downloading a DLL, and then it does what it needs to do, and then immediately removes it from your system. That way it can't be detected. This popularity may be accounted by the fact that customers with access to the administration control panel can generate new stealer samplers, which increase the chances of the malware leaking to a broader audience. So someone can set up a way for it to steal information and just copy that from someone else. Despite the poor business model, Sequoia believes that Steelite represents a significant threat as it could be adopted by less technical cybercriminals. That's because the administration panel doesn't take a lot of technical use to actually have to use it as compared to most other malwares. So someone that's not quite as familiar would be able to grab onto this. When deployed, the malware deobfuscates strings and performs anti-analysis checks to ensure it doesn't run in virtual environment or sandbox. Again, more shit that doesn't make sense to most people. Deobfuscating means it breaks apart a big group of characters, which, like this word Chrome, that's a string. This whole thing is actually a string because a string can have spaces in it too. So it takes a bunch of characters, uncompiles them, and creates some logic that might not have been found earlier. And before it does that, it checks that it is not inside a virtual machine where someone is faking that they're using Windows when they're on Linux or something like that, or Sandbox, which does the same thing. Next, it dynamically loads Windows API functions and initiates communication with the C2 server, where all the data that they store is at, sending the victim's hardware identifier and build name in the first message, and then they receive a configuration to steal that user's data as a response. One of the main distribution methods is YouTube videos describing how to install cracked software and then linking to a download site, and then you get this download. You get what you wanted, but then you also get this without realizing it. So be careful out there and never click links you aren't too sure of. Fake Bing ChatGPT tokens pop up amid AI hype. I didn't highlight anything on this one apparently. Weeks after Microsoft announced a new AI-powered version of its search engine Bing, scammers have been flooding the market with tokens trying to cash in on the hype around the product. New search engine powered by the same technology behind OpenAI's popular text chat tool ChatGPT, kicking off an AI arms race with Google. Interest has also extended into the crypto space, where AI-related tokens such as Fetch, SingularityNet, and Ocean Protocol have seen their value boosted by investors. Yeah, I don't think there's really too much more. So just watch out for scam Bing tokens and make sure you find a real one. I don't know if they say any ticker names anywhere. Quick scan, I'm not seeing any symbol names. Two of the tokens posing as Bing related schemes also have extremely high sales tax, so the issuer may make a hefty cut. I don't know why they don't say what these probably this tweet here. That's not gonna load for us. So you can see there's quite a few here. Unfortunately, I'm not able to go into them, but be wary. MATIC dropped 6% as Polygon slashes headcount by 20%. That would be good for those that want to capitalize on that golf game. The group of companies behind the epsilonally named blockchain network announced it would be cutting its headcount by 20%. Oh, pseudonymous. That's a weird. The 100 employees that have been laid off will receive 3 months of severance pay. Earlier this year, we consolidated multiple business units under Polygon Labs. As part of this process, we're sharing the difficult news that we've reduced our team by 20%, impacting multiple teams and about 100% positions, read the post. Unfortunately, this is something you may see more of as we head more toward a recession, unless we're able to avoid a recession. Polygon Labs Vice President of Communications and Community, Kurt Patat, told Decrypt that teams across Polygon Labs were impacted, but operations and marketing were impacted the most, adding that the project still plans to continue operating at an extremely high level. Layoffs have continued to spill over in 2023 as the industry continues to cope with the brutal crypto winter. We've been seeing this in companies like Microsoft and other companies as well, so it's not just segregated to the crypto environment. It's not just exchanges that are really new either. On Valentine's Day, Solana-based NFT marketplace Magic Eden let go of 22 employees. This week we will focus our energy on helping the people who are transitioning from Magic Eden, said the project co-founder and CEO Jack Liu. Next week we'll regroup, refocus, and move forward. So DraftKings teased up PGA Tour NFT golf game. After establishing NFT-based fantasy sports games around the NFL and the UFC, sports betting firm DraftKings announced today that it'll launch an NFT fantasy golf game in partnership with the PGA Tour. DraftKings will roll out the Rainmakers PGA Tour experience in March, following the same kind of format as with its previous NFT projects. Digital cards based on PGA Tour golfers will be minted and sold via Polygon, an Ethereum sidechain network, and users can compete for millions of dollars worth of cash prizes. Just like traditional fantasy sports games, users will earn points based on real-world performance of the players in their respective lineups. But as in DraftKings' other Rainmaker games and in rivalry games like SoRare, users will build their lineups by buying and trading digital cards based on real-world athletes. Golf is the firm's 4th largest fantasy sport and 7th most bet on sports league. I'm shocked that many people watch golf. We already see a high level engagement from these users, she said of DraftKings golf fans, adding that Rainmakers lets the firm take gamified NFTs and really push our users into the fantasy space a little bit more. The first set of PGA player cards will launch on March 6th, then ahead of the first in-game event, the Players' Championship, from March 9th to the 12th. The NFT-driven experience could be largely familiar to players of other Rainmaker games, but they said to expect specifically themed future NFT drops around major PGA Tour tournaments in the future. This is the PGA Tour's second NFT collaboration, following a deal announced from Tom Brady's NFT startup Autograph last September that has yet to bear fruit. Autograph's NFTs will be the digital collectible themed around the golf course moments. According to Tom Jeffs, the PGA Tour's VP of Media Business Development, while DraftKings focuses on player cards with in-game utility, he believes there's enough room for both projects to thrive. So, onto the charts. Over on the daily, we have a long upper shadow candle that could be a bit of a bearish candle, as that means buyers tried to push us up and got rejected. This is like the 4th time we've rejected this, 5th time we've rejected this area since we've touched it. We are getting a red dot that could print tomorrow, so that is a bearish sign. We have 3 red dots along our RSI, that's a bearish sign to see. Our stochastic looks like it's about to start heading down, with our RSI already heading down. So our RSI is supposed to have a lot of strength right now, with the stochastic being so far up, but we're losing strength even though that's the case. Money flow is somewhat starting to sharply come out from yesterday and today, so that's a little concerning. If that continues, that could be a bearish sign. Our VWAP's about to break the neutral zone, so we'll have to watch the next 2 days very closely. Over on the 4-hour, oh, I forgot to mention, we also have a bearish divergence with this dot. If it prints, we have a lower low on our momentum from here to here as price climbed up. So that is a bearish divergence. Our stochastic's coming down, way down on the 4-hour, and our RSI is coming crashing down pretty strongly too. We did have that bearish divergence a few candles ago. Our VWAP is trying to come back up, so short term we may try to push up, but this is a pretty crucial area to have any push from. We did touch this low volume profile a couple times on lower time frames. We'll have to kind of look at how it looks like on those lower time frames, but we did break that on some of the lower time frames. Like if we look at the 2-hour, we did break that, we did come back up, and we are about to retest it. So if we break here, then we could have fallen out of this range. If we do manage to make a bounce from here, that would be a bullish sign, and we could attempt to invalidate this big rising wedge we have here. That could take us to 23.8. But that's all dependent on if we can get back above this point of control and into this pattern. Our momentum wave's coming down pretty sharply on the 4 hour. Money flow is coming down pretty hard after getting a nice pump up. We are getting a bullish divergence on our VWAP. I've never played those, so I'm not too sure how that'd play out as price is coming down and our VWAP's going up. Our stochastic is coming up slightly, but our RSI is continuing to fall. If the stochastic rejects around that 30 area right around here, so we're pretty close, then that could mean the bears are going to remain in control. If we look at the 15 minute, there was a bearish pattern that happened not that long ago that I want to cover. We have this big green candle with a doji candle followed by two big red candles. Usually you'll see like one big red candle, and that'd be a top sign. So this could be a bit of a top signal with these candle setups. We could get a red dot here on the 15 minute after this VWAP trying to cross up and failing, or money flow, sorry. So our money flow is coming back down, our momentum wave is about to come down, and our VWAP's about to cross on this 15. So it's not looking too good for us to hold above this point of control if that continues and we don't get some surprise momentum up to invalidate all this pretty soon. So if we look over at graph here, this is a clean chart from yesterday as I've swapped to the KuCoin chart. That way the time frames can stay consistent for those of you watching graph and you don't have to try and remember different goofy things. So our momentum wave is coming out. Money flow is kind of flat. Stochastic is coming down and it's in the bearish zone, has been for quite some time, and our RSI is just kind of flat. RSI is holding up way better than Bitcoin's RSI, as Bitcoin's is in the bullish zone and we're heading down. We might be able to make a bit of a symmetrical triangle here on the daily. I believe we made that yesterday. Not the cleanest look here on the daily. So that's a 50-50 probability. Could take us higher, could break us lower, with Bitcoin looking kind of crappy, might take us lower. We do have a bearish divergence here on the 4 hour. You can see that could have already played out. VWAP's trying to come back up, so short term we're trying to get some reprieve. This money flow is coming down, touching this bearish zone and starting to flash red, so we could see the money flow dip into the bearish zone, which would be bad for the daily, as the 4 hour tends to lead into the daily. Our VWAP is coming down pretty aggressive, or our momentum wave is coming down pretty aggressively, so that's not the best sign to see, and our RSI is starting to make a slide here. If we look at the 2 hour, our RSI has kind of been flat the last several candles. Money flow tried to peak up, but it's coming back down. Our VWAP is looking like it could just curl over here, so that's not too positive to see as it tried to cross bullish. Our money flow is coming down pretty sharply here as well. So if we don't bounce off this SMA here on the 2 hour, it's very likely we could see this all roll over and head lower. But we would also need to bounce off this higher SMA. I believe that's the 250. So if we look at XRP, we did have that bullish candle. However, we got a spinning top candle, which is indecision. Money flow is coming out, VWAP is coming down still. So even though we had this bullish candle, there were still some wary signs, like the money flow not being in the bullish zone. That's why you don't want to front run it when it gets real close, because it may not make that cross. Momentum looks like it peaked over and it's about to just roll over and give up. Stochastic's trying to make a bullish move, so we're trying to pump, but our RSI is kind of sliding, so we're looking more like Bitcoin there. We are testing our triangle that we had. This is a descending triangle, so if we don't bounce off of here, we could see it play out and we could get a goofy looking right shoulder. Oh, almost skipped the 4 hour. Over at the 4-hour, VWAP's coming down, not too aggressively. Money flow is somewhat coming out. Our VWAP is kind of flat, slightly heading down currently, so I'd watch that. Stochastic's coming down, broke this neutral zone, and it's about to make a bullish cross, so it could try and retest that neutral zone and then roll over. RSI is coming down on the 4-hour. 2-hour, we got a green dot followed by a red dot, which means that green dot got invalidated. Our RSI is coming down. Our stochastic's about to make a bearish cross. So the 2-hour is not looking too strong. Our VWAP is bearish, but it's not very bearish. But again, I wouldn't front run it because it could easily just curl from here, especially with that red dot and the stochastic cross. If we look over at Algo, I don't know why we always get those texts inside this ascending channel we have, but we're in an ascending channel, which is a bearish pattern. So RSI is coming down. Stochastic's trying to be bullish. Momentum waves kind of tapering off here, and our VWAP wants to break. So our money flow is still coming up, which is pretty weird that our money flow continues to go up even though everything else is looking bearish. You would think that money flow would take a breather. Over at the 4-hour, this is more what I'd expect to see is some chop. On the 4-hour, we are overall coming up on money flow. Generally, that's a bullish trend. However, with Bitcoin looking bearish, I wouldn't bet too much on that. We do have a bearish divergence highlighting here. We have a red X that printed. So few bearish things that popped up since yesterday. Our VWAP did slightly head up, but it's kind of tapered off and lost the momentum to carry us higher on that medium-term trend. If we look at the 2-hour, momentum waves coming down pretty aggressively, stochastics coming out, and our RSI is coming out. We had several divergences over here, so not looking the best. Our VWAP does want to try and break, but it's kind of doing the same thing XRP is, where it might start to bend here if we continue more downward action. So I'd be careful with this environment. We do have a rising wedge on Bitcoin that could bring us lower on the altcoins as well. So just keep that in mind as you're trading. Exercise caution and make sure you're using proper risk management. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.